Y'all listen, when it comes to Claressa, I'm starting to get a little soft spot for her. I really am. I really feel sorry for her.
Lately, I've been thinking about everything going on with Claressa Shields, and honestly, it's hard not to feel a little sympathy for her. Not in a dramatic or over-the-top way, but in a real human way. Because when you step back and look at the full picture, it doesn't just look like gossip anymore. It looks like a situation that slowly fell apart in front of everyone, piece by piece. And what makes it even more intense is that this didn't happen quietly. It all played out online, in real time, with people watching, commenting, and forming opinions as things unfolded. For months, Claressa Shields was very open about her relationship with Papoose. She didn't hide it. In fact, she leaned into it. She called him my man again and again, whether it was in interviews, social media posts, or live videos. She spoke with confidence, like someone who felt secure in what she had. From the outside, it looked like she believed she had won his attention, his loyalty, and his future. At the same time, people online were watching everything closely. What could have been a private relationship turned into something that felt like a public show. Every post, every caption, every appearance added to the story people were building in their minds. But now that entire image people were seeing has started to crack. Some reports and online claims, especially those linked to Tasha K, have completely shifted how people view the situation. According to those claims, Papoose may have stepped away from Claressa Shields and reconnected with Remy Ma. Now, it's important to be clear. These are claims, not confirmed facts. But even as claims, they were enough to shake the entire narrative. Because if that is even partly true, it changes everything. The same man who was being presented as someone building a future suddenly appears to have returned to his past. And not in a loud or dramatic way. According to what people are saying, it happened quietly. No big announcement. No explanation. Just distance, silence, and absence. Imagine being in that position. One day everything feels solid, and the next day communication slows down. Calls go unanswered. Messages feel different. And instead of clarity, there's confusion. That kind of shift can hit hard. And according to what people online are discussing, that's exactly what may have happened. Some even say that while Claressa Shields was still presenting a happy relationship publicly, things behind the scenes were already changing. The energy was no longer the same, but the image continued. That's where things start to feel uncomfortable, because it raises the question, was the relationship ever as stable as it looked? Another layer that added fuel to the conversation is how people started comparing Claressa Shields and Remy Ma. At first, it was small observations. Similar outfits, similar poses, similar luxury items. But over time, some people began to say it looked like more than coincidence. They started using words like copying or mirroring. Now, that might be an exaggeration, but the fact that people were even having that conversation shows how closely everything was being watched. Then came another claim that really caught attention. Some reports suggested that Claressa Shields may have gotten a tattoo related to Papoose. If true, that's a very strong sign of commitment. It's permanent. It's emotional. It's not something people do casually. But the reaction online was mixed. Some saw it as love. Others saw it as risky, especially considering that Papoose was still legally married to Remy Ma. That detail keeps coming back, because it changes how everything is viewed. No matter what the emotional situation is, the legal connection still exists. And that alone makes things complicated. While all this was happening, Remy Ma stayed mostly quiet. She didn't respond loudly. She didn't go back and forth online. Instead, she appeared calm, spending time with family and living her life without reacting publicly to every development. That silence stood out, because in situations like this, people often expect drama from all sides. But when one person stays quiet, it creates a different kind of impact. It makes people wonder what they know that others don't. Photos and reports also started circulating suggesting that Papoose and Remy Ma were still spending time together. Again, nothing officially confirmed, but enough to keep people talking. Then came another twist. Some claims suggested that Claressa Shields may not have been the main focus in the relationship at all. Instead, she may have been part of a temporary situation while the original marriage was being worked on privately. If that's true, it changes the entire story, because it means what looked like a love triangle might not have been one in the way people assumed. It also brings up another uncomfortable idea. What if the relationship wasn't built on the same level of commitment from both sides? That question became even louder when financial discussions entered the picture. Claressa Shields had spoken publicly about Papoose taking care of her lifestyle, but later conversations and interviews created doubt about that. Some people even suggested that she may have been funding parts of that lifestyle herself, while presenting it differently online. Again, these are claims, not proven facts. But once that idea entered the conversation, people started going back and rewatching old videos and posts. They began looking at small details more closely, reactions, timing, behavior. And suddenly, moments that once looked genuine started to feel staged to some viewers. That's the power of perception. Once people start questioning something, everything gets re-examined. Another detail that people focused on was how the relationship looked during important moments, like holidays. Some reports claimed that Claressa Shields spent certain holidays alone, while Papoose was with his family. If true, that says a lot without needing any explanation, because holidays are usually spent with the people closest to you. And when someone is missing from those moments, people notice. As time went on, the tone of Claressa Shields' posts also seemed to change. At first, everything felt confident and celebratory. But later, some people felt her posts became more defensive, more responses, more explanations, more energy directed at critics. That shift didn't go unnoticed, because when someone feels secure, they usually don't need to explain themselves constantly. But when things feel uncertain, reactions can become stronger. Some observers described it as a change from confidence to pressure, like someone trying to hold on to something that might be slipping away. Meanwhile, the idea that Papoose may have been moving between two situations without fully closing one added another layer of complexity. If true, it paints a picture of someone managing multiple dynamics at once, without giving full clarity to either side. And that creates confusion, not just for the people involved, but for everyone watching. At the end of the day, this situation feels less like a simple relationship story, and more like a mix of emotions, perception, and public image. There's love, or at least the idea of it. There's pride, where people don't want to look like they lost. There's attention, which can sometimes make things bigger than they really are. And then there's reality, which doesn't always match what's being shown online. If there's one thing this whole situation highlights, it's how different things can look from the outside compared to what's actually happening behind closed doors. What seemed like a strong, confident relationship may not have been as stable as it appeared. What looked like control may have been uncertainty. What looked like winning may have been something else entirely. And for Claressa Shields, if even part of these claims are true, then this wasn't just about losing a relationship. It was about losing something she believed in, something she showed the world, something she defended publicly. And when something like that falls apart in front of millions of people, it doesn't just hurt privately, it becomes something everyone talks about. That's what makes this situation so intense. Not just what happened, but how publicly it happened. And as the story continues to unfold, one thing is clear. People aren't just watching for drama anymore. They're watching to understand what was real and what wasn't.